Sorry, y'all. I was knocked out. I was knocked out. I took the call myself, taking a quick little power nap. So my apologies. I'm late. Now, where am I? Man, I'm late. Anyway, 15. I'm off by 15 minutes. All right. What's going on, Carlton? What's going on, Lewis? All right, y'all. I'm here. All right. So, no, that's not what I was looking for. Let me get this out the way. All right, here we go. We good? Everybody see that? All right. All right. So, let's get this out the way real quick.
Yeah, sure. If
Could I just interrupt for a second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
While he's sitting up there trying to deflect, do understand y'all dropped the bombshell, not the media, but okay, let's go.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
You hear the spin? Put your feet up, folks. It's about to get pretty deep in here. Let's go.
Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him.
So, let me get this straight. What you're trying to tell us is that a multimillionaire like Jeffrey Epstein, who they were calling his private jet the Lolita Express, you're trying to tell me that all of the videos that you found in this house, they were all CP? That's what you're telling us? So you're telling me that he didn't save any security camera footage or anything like that? No personal, I mean, you do understand you threw this man in jail for, sexual contact, physical sexual contact with minors, a lot of minors. You said that there were a lot of victims. Matter of fact, one girl, one of the victims who said she wasn't suicidal. If anything happened to her, she wanted to let it be known she wasn't suicidal. She was found swinging. Somebody that could have really testified as to who did what and it did where, and you were saying that there were all these victims, and you were taking your time, and you didn't want to release any of the names because a lot of these people were minors at the time and they were witnesses, and you were trying to protect them. You mean to tell me that none of them were on tape? If it was just Jeffrey Epstein, then why is his wife in jail? Why is she in prison if Jeffrey Epstein was the only one that was violating these young girls? Why is his wife in prison? Can you explain that? So a lot of these victims are adults now. Shall we ask them? I'm surprised they haven't come out of the woodwork Some of them have come out of the woodwork and told their stories. That it wasn't just Jeffrey. I hate you.
Him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that,
you know, these people really think we stupid. They really think we stupid. They really think we stupid. They really think we stupid. Feckless. It's been my favorite word for a minute. Like feckless. Right. I mean, the story, she don't even sound believable. She don't even sound believable. Yeah, this is a federal prison. They recycle tapes. Yeah. That's what they're trying to tell us. I guess this was the same prison system where what was the black girl, the mouthy black chick, lesbian black chick that was found expired in her cell down in Texas. You know, the one that got pulled over, she wouldn't put out the cigarette butt, and then by the time we looked up, like they took a picture of her mugshot was her. Really, she was already deceased when they did her mugshot. Supposedly, the videotape to her cell had missing footage. Anyway, so he just so happened deleted himself when the tape reset. Right. I guess that's when he did it, right? Oh, okay. It's about to be the minute loop. Let me go ahead and oh my God, man. These people, you know what? I'm done. This is what I was talking about the past week or so. Like, I'm so sick and tired of this person is under investigation and that person is under investigation. Everybody's under investigation, but nobody's getting arrested. Leave it to Pam Bondi. Everybody would be under investigation with no arrests, because I have yet to hear her say this is who we arrested. You know, even in the big 106 people Medicaid fraud scheme, where are the mugshots of the people who were involved? Yeah, no mugshots of these people. You would think you would make an example of these people and parade their faces all over the media. You get nothing. All you get is talk. I just chalk her up to be a liar. This DOJ, the DOJ is still crooked as all hell. What's up, Unsunken One? Carlton, Detroit, Red Pill. They're just as crooked as ever. I don't believe anything that comes out of that woman's mouth. She's the type of woman that if her son shot up the school and they would ask her, you know, how did you not know he had 6 AR-15s under his bed? What's up, Blood Boiling? Well, I knew. I just thought they were toys. You know, she would be one of them. I thought they were toys. Just a liar. Just a liar. Anyway, let's get into this. So, like I said, we're gonna do the crime beat, and a little politics today. So, Australian mushroom cook Erin Patterson guilty of murdering 3 relatives with deadly lunch. It reminds me of the joke. The guy, he said, I'm sorry, y'all. Let me get into my groove. I'm just waking up 5 minutes ago. So, guy said, he was asked the guy, he was in prison. He said, "What are you doing in here?" He was like, "Well, I'm a widower." Like, "Well, what happened?" Like, "Well, what happened?" Like, "Well, what happened with your, like, you're a widower?" Like, damn, like, I'm sorry. It was like, "Well, it's just my third wife." Like, "Well, what happened to your first wife?" Like, "Well, she died from mushroom poisoning." Like, "What about your second wife?" Like, "She died from mushroom poisoning." Like, "Well, what about your third?" Like, "She died from a fractured skull." Like, "A fractured skull?" Like, "Yeah, she wouldn't eat the mushrooms." That's the joke. Anyway, let's go.
Erin Patterson, dubbed by media as the Mushroom Cook, has been found guilty of murdering 3 of her in-laws and attempting to murder a 4th by serving them a meal laced with deadly mushrooms. Patterson was accused of preparing a beef Wellington on July 29, 2023, containing death cap mushrooms, a highly toxic variety known to grow under oak trees in the region of South Melbourne. Dawn and Gail Patterson, both 70, and Gail's sister Heather Wilkinson, 66, all died from liver failure within a week of attending the lunch. Heather's husband, Ian Wilkinson, survived but fell critically ill. Patterson has now been found guilty of 3.
He survived. He's lucky he didn't get the fractured skull.
Counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Throughout the trial, Patterson maintained her innocence, pleading not guilty. She admitted the mushrooms had been in the meal, but claimed it was a tragic accident. She said she had purchased dehydrated mushrooms from an Asian grocery store in Melbourne, but was unable to say exactly where. Initially, Patterson denied foraging for mushrooms or owning a food dehydrator, a device police believe was used to dry wild fungi. She later admitted to both. The jury, made up of 12 people, was sequestered throughout the deliberations, meaning that they were not allowed to return home and stayed in special accommodation near the Latrobe Valley Law Courts. They deliberated for several days following a 5-week trial that included 35 days of evidence and cross-examination. The judge instructed jurors to consider Patterson's credibility, including alleged lies she told her relatives, such as faking a cancer diagnosis to invite them to lunch, and fabricating an illness following the incident to cover her tracks. Sentencing has not yet been scheduled.
Be your own people.
The police have released that surveillance video. It's from...
All right, so this is that Philly mass shooting video shows several people firing from front porch.
The doorbell camera right there, up there on the porch of that shooting that we were on all yesterday morning. Horrible tragedy. It looks like there's 3 gunmen and they're shooting across the street where there's so many other people that are all around. We do want to warn you that it obviously is extremely, people died. It's alarming to watch. So, obviously we've blurred a lot of the other people. So we've singled out, or the police singled out, certainly the 3 suspected gunmen in this case that they were able to isolate, possibly 4 right there. So, of course, 12 people were struck and 3 of those victims died. This was the scene. There was evidence markers, more than 140. This is one of the victims. I met this young man when he was 17, and he was paralyzed from another shooting. And then he, lived and was a young father 5 more years. And then he was just killed in this horrible tragedy right there. There's video that was blurred where you could see him out there in that horrible, horrible incident that occurred. So he is one of the 3 men that were killed. The other 2, his name specifically is Azir Harris, who's now 24, but also killed was 19-year-old Jason Reese and 23-year-old Zahir Wiley. So we spoke with the father of Azir.
I just want to say, put these guns down, man. It's a better way to solve it. Really do. It's a better way to solve it. I carried him at his time when he was down, and now I can't be able to pick them up no more, and it hurts. Really do. Hurts me bad.
It hurts everybody. I mean, just look at those weapons out there. I mean, it even looked like one of the gunmen was firing with his eyes closed.
Damn, look at that. 67. That's a shell case. 67. All of these are shell cases. 67. So far that we've seen pieces of evidence. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Right. People are just, scared, fearful, too many guns. These are all young people involved. One of these guns have been modified, police say, with a switch to make it basically an automatic weapon. In fact, an automatic weapon. Obviously, there's always a $20,000 reward in any of these homicide cases.
Yes, that video has been seen all over the country now. I know TMZ picked it up.
Yeah, I mean, ain't this wild? I mean, look at this. Look at what the white supremacists are forcing black people to do. They got to play tag with pistol grips and switches at night. The white supremacists got our brothers out here shooting at each other, even in wheelchairs. They shooting. Oh, the poor black people in Philadelphia, they just need a big old hug and a kiss on the forehead and told not to do that no more. Because the white supremacists, they got us just acting crazy. This is the white man's fault. What do you say? Let's say, man, where are my glasses? I don't know why I be. Oh, there we go. Say here, I was told that these mass shootings are done by white men wearing blackface silicone masks. I can only imagine who told you that. I can only imagine who said that. Because black people taking accountability is racist. Meanwhile, get the AK-47s. Yeah. Oh my God. Let's move on.
Back to the DC 33 workers' strike. Negotiations have been ongoing, but so far, no deal. And city residents.
We still in Philly. This is DC 33 strike day 6. Trash issues continue in Philly because their sanitation workers are on strike.
Residents are feeling the impact in many ways. Many of the city's sidewalks covered in garbage heaps, reflecting the on and off negotiations. Our Ellen Kaloje shows us how some folks are stepping up to battle the mounting waste.
Day 6 of the strike, and the tensions and the frustrations keep rising along with the trash. And even though the trash is getting hauled away to the city dump.
What the hell is she wearing? What the hell is she wearing? What is she wearing? I mean, the newscaster, the news anchor, she cute, but what the hell is this chick wearing, man? Good Lord. Come on now. Put the picnic tablecloth back on the picnic table. Ellen, what are you wearing?
This guy has been waiting here to move the trash for more than an hour because he tells me that the workers hauling the trash to the city dump are getting harassed and hassled, he claims, by the striking workers.
I think it's horrible, to tell you the truth, because, this is city of Philadelphia, and it's trash everywhere. I mean, this is a big city, and it shouldn't look like this at all.
My wife told me enough is enough. My trash is building up. And she was like, you got to do something about it.
Looks like New York.
Bobby Jenkins made 3 trips with his trusty cart to the designated dumpsters on Devereaux Ave.
Bobby Jenkins! Wait, hold on.
3 trips with his trusty...
Bobby Jenkins, he got his boots on. Oh, Bobby Jenkins.
Cart to the designated dumpsters on Devereaux Ave, one of 60 around the city. He says he's relieved to finally see trucks taking trash that's been piling up for days.
I was happy about it, but I'll be most grateful if the strike be over and we can get back to some normalcy.
This guy in the backhoe was working as fast as he could, but had to take long breaks as he waited for the trucks to get back, as residents just kept coming and dropping off their garbage and a lot of other things.
I believe in what they're fighting for. You know, they're always out here, heat, cold, snow, whatever. But I also remember the mayor saying, we're not Philadelphia, but look what it looks like right now. And it smells like it as well.
Krish and Lakeisha Smith say they sympathize with the workers, but also think the city's offer is fair. So they hope both sides get back to the bargaining table to hammer out a deal. Because like so many others, they can't take much more of this.
I feel like if they're not picking it up, I'm dropping it off. So I'm not getting paid to do that. So had to throw that in. I don't want to become a trash worker. I'm just getting off of work for 20 hours.
So we're here at one of those sites where the trucks have been dropping the trash off all day. And we talked to a couple of the sheriff's deputies. They say there have been no problems at all with any harassment of the strikers. That's not to say it's not happening at another site. But what we do know is that everyone we've talked to says they just want this strike to end as soon as possible.
Crazy.
In Holmesburg, Ellen Kaloje, Fox 29 News.
That's
time now, 5:09. Some shocking surveillance video out of North Philadelphia showing a car plowing into a woman and pinning her against the wall of that corner store and then drive off. So you see the vehicle turning intentionally, aiming for a woman. She runs out of the way, but there's the woman right there in the blue shirt who was pinned. This is the 1300 block of West Somerset Street. It happened around 2:30 Saturday afternoon. Once again, the car was turning, intentionally trying to hit a woman crossing the street, and then once again hitting that woman in the blue shirt. She's 69 years old. The car described as a silver Kia sedan. It was last seen taking off on Somerset Street.
Sure, and just grandma with just like no situational awareness whatsoever. I mean, what it looked like, it looked like she was crossing the street. This chick right here, she was probably taking too long, and I can 100% dollars to donuts bet you that this is a female driver in this car. Because anybody, a sane person, 99.9% of a man or even a male would have just laughed it off, kept going, even if he was in the wrong in this situation. Only a low IQ female would bag up and then try to run this woman over to the point where she wound up hurting this woman who just Scooby-Dooby-Doo and ain't paying attention to jack crap. Like, you hear this commotion behind you. You hear the car reverse and everything. You so lost in thought to hurry up and get your scratch-offs and your beer and your cigarettes that you don't hear this going on behind you?
No word yet on the victim's condition.
Right now, police are still searching for a man accused of shooting a Philadelphia school safety officer. Investigators say the 68-year-old victim, who was a retired city police officer, had just finished his shift and was in his patrol vehicle on the 300 block of North Columbus Boulevard around 1:45 on Sunday morning. So there was a driver who had dragged him down, saying someone had pointed a gun at them on I-95. And then when the officer tried to intervene and tried to help, the armed driver opened fire, causing that officer to crash. The suspect was then seen driving a white Hyundai SUV, and that's all they have. Follow up and see the surveillance video. Big announcement yesterday. Congressman Dwight Evans will not be seeking re-election in 2026. He will be retiring at the end of his term. He says he's so proud of everything he accomplished in the many, many decades he served, 45 years, if you can believe it. But the time was right for him to make this decision, so he'll serve out his full term, which will end on January 3rd of 2027.
I don't think anybody cares. So let's get into my neck of the woods. I-285 shut down in DeKalb County amid major police presence. 285 is like, I mean, I wouldn't walk it, but it's around the corner from me. Those of you that live here in Atlanta or ever been here, you out here, if you ever been out in DeKalb County where that prison is at, right at 285, yeah, I'm over in that area. So this is pretty much where this happened at, over in that 285. So let's see what happened.
We're following breaking news right now at Atlanta News First. I'm Tracy Hutchins. So we want to take you to DeKalb County at this hour. This is a live look from our GDOT cameras. Again, you're looking at DeKalb County, and this is Interstate 285 at I-675.
Oh, you over by the airport? Yeah, because this is on the other. So you down by Fulton? Franklin, Fulton. Down in that bottom area. Okay, let's get this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm still trying to get my bearings. Let's go.
You can see there's a massive police presence there. These are can you tell me, Jason, northbound, southbound lanes? We just want to let you know, just in case you are traveling in that area, or eastbound, westbound. Both directions, you can see, of course, delays in that area. Again, a massive police presence. Here's what we know right now is that there was a chase. We have been told through several sources, there was a chase that stretched through a number of jurisdictions. That's why we see such, really so many officials from law enforcement right there. So sources telling us shots were fired at police and the driver rammed several units. At least 30 law enforcement vehicles there right now. It's a little hard to determine where that vehicle is that may have been part of that chase, likely somewhere in the middle of the scene. Yeah, it looks like it might be a white vehicle, possibly there, over on the right shoulder, possibly. But again, here's what we know so far. Several law enforcement agencies right now are in this area of Interstate 285 at Interstate 675 in DeKalb County. If you have any plans or a loved one that's traveling in that area, they may want to avoid it. You can see extensive delays in that area. Once again, what our sources are telling us is this was a chase that stretched across multiple jurisdictions, and shots were fired at police, and the driver of a vehicle rammed several police units. So it's unclear right now who may have been hurt when those shots were fired, if anyone was hurt, if a suspect is in custody at this time. It is unclear. We don't see any emergency vehicles on the scene right now, but we do see a number of those police units. It looks like a lot of them are leaving that area, so they could possibly be starting to wrap up this scene here. It is more than likely a crime scene, since someone is believed to have rammed police officers and shot at them as well. So again, this is a story we continue to follow. It's unclear exactly what happened, how this all transpired, but you're taking a live look right now at our GDOT cameras, and this is in the area of I-285 at I-675 in DeKalb County. So it's not only happening on one side of the road, but you can see it's impacting that traffic on the opposite side. Just within the last few minutes here, it looks like officers have opened up that opposite side of the roadway, so a lot of those trucks and vehicles can get through. Of course, they were certainly concerned about any possible shots being fired and impacting those drivers on the other side of the road. So again, we do know that shots were fired at police, and a driver rammed several units there, possibly trying to get away during this chase. It is unclear where that chase may have started, but we can tell it certainly ended here. So I mentioned a few minutes ago, hadn't seen any emergency vehicles. We do see an ambulance right now rolling up on the scene, and it does appear that there could possibly be another EMS unit behind it there in that red vehicle right at the center of your screen. So again, it is unclear where this possible vehicle may be. It almost looks like something is in the ravine there. Unfortunately, we don't have control of these cameras. These are from the Georgia Department of Transportation. So what we can see, if you can kind of see that ravine there right past the Gore area, there could possibly be a vehicle in that ravine. So not sure if that could be the suspect's vehicle or not. We do have a crew headed to the scene right now, so they can give us a better perspective there on the ground. Again, we kind of have this aerial look for you of what's going on, which is a pretty good vantage point. You can see a number of officers already leaving the scene right now. So let's recap for you. Again, this all transpired within the last 20 minutes or so. What we know right now, this happening on Interstate 285 at 675, a number of police vehicles involved in here, a heavy police presence. We've been told that there was a chase that stretched through a number of jurisdictions ending there in DeKalb County, and that a possible suspect fired shots at police and rammed several police units, obviously in an effort to get away there. Again, not sure where that suspect vehicle could possibly be. Maybe in the ravine there, don't see it on the roadway, but we have seen a number of police officers leave that area. Again, multiple jurisdictions involved here. So a number of them may have been there to assist in trying to capture whoever this is. I do believe that could be the vehicle there in the ravine. Just saw an officer possibly walk over to that. There are emergency crews there on the scene. There's an ambulance there and another first responder as well. So it's unclear if any officers have been hurt, any suspects have been hurt. Unclear how suspects there could possibly be. Unclear if you are traveling in the area of I-285 at I-675 in DeKalb County, you may want to avoid that area. Heavy police presence, a suspect possibly involved, firing shots at police and ramming officers' vehicles. We will continue to follow the story on Atlanta News First. Make sure you go ahead and head to us, download our free app, and follow us on AtlantaNewsFirst.com.
What up, baby? I was
Police are crediting shoppers who saw some.
I was trying to find the video. I know I got it. It was last month. Well, I was on 285 and we were stuck in traffic like that. And military vehicles were all the way over in the emergency lane. They were zipping through. I mean, they were zipping through. And by the time we were able to get past where the accident was, one of the military vehicles that had zipped through on the emergency lane, somebody had rammed into him. Somebody had rammed into him. They ran into the damn military vehicle. They were hauled, but let's see, it looked like they ran into the, one of the vehicles that was carrying a golf cart, and there was some people in a black van. You know how they had those like an airport shuttle cargo van? They ran into that and a military golf cart vehicle, because the back of the transport van was open. There was a bunch of, looks like a bunch of civilians, but it was a military vehicle. It was wild. I can't find it. I was looking for the video while she was talking. I can't find it. I'll find it though, but I couldn't find it. So here we go. We're still in Atlanta. Police rescue 2 kids from a hot car at Cumberland Mall. And you would think that it's like a natural disaster. Every summer, somebody does this at least 10 times a year that we know of. But let's go.
And said something. They called 911 when they spotted 2 young children locked in a hot car. Atlanta News First Don Shipman live with the First Alert breaking news tracker at Cumberland Mall today. And Don, these kids are okay after officers leaped into action.
That's exactly right. It could have been a whole lot worse. They could have been injured, if not worse than that. That car was extremely hot. And experts say that this is a perfect example of how hot a vehicle can get inside. Well over 100 degrees.
The little girl looks maybe about a year, and the little boy looks maybe about 2.
A dramatic rescue caught on police dash cam and body cam.
They were crying pretty hard.
Cobb County officers raced to Cumberland Mall after this urgent 911 call.
And there were 2 children in a car by themselves, small kids crying. Hi, honey, it's okay. Hi, you're okay.
Body cam video shows officers smashing the driver's side window, then unlocking the back doors to get the children out.
Hey, kitties. Hey, buddy. It's okay. Hey.
Why? I mean, why? Say they probably rammed them on purpose, but why? Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why? And you know ain't nobody did this. You know, oh my God. What's the over under that the mother did this? What's the over under?
It's okay, baby. It's okay. Oh, you're hot.
Cobb police say that it was only 80 degrees outside that day, but inside
Only
the car,
80?
temperatures soared to a life-threatening 117.
The act of
Only 80.
opening a vehicle door from the inside is a cognitively difficult task for a 4-year-old.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says simple habits like putting a wallet, purse, or phone in the back seat can be a life-saving reminder to look before you lock.
You would think that your kids. So you telling me that, let me get this straight. You telling me that your wallet, your purse, or your phone is more important than children? I mean, that's pretty much what you're telling me, is that, you know, you put your kids in the car, you strap them in, you drive to the mall or wherever you go, and then you just, what? You forget the kids are with you? All the noise that children make in the backseat of a car, you forget that they're with you? Even when they're asleep, I mean, you still, if you're any type of parent, but your wallet, purse, or your phone. Okay. Oh boy. Okay.
Before you lock.
Oh, and that's what I mean. Look, for those of y'all that live south of the Mason-Dixon line, especially down here in Georgia, even at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, it's hot down here, especially in the summer. It's hot down here. Look at this. Look, this right here is saying it's 12:08 in the afternoon. See the temperature is say right there, 90 degrees at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. 90 degrees. It's hot. When I go out to my car, I have to open the door and give it a minute. Let the heat just flow right out, and then get in. I start the car up, roll down the windows before I even shut the door. Because it get hot. Pop the sunroof before I shut the doors because it's hot. Go to Kroger's. Be in and out in less than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. The car, I got to do it all over again. It's an oven. And that's with the sunroof open. Let's be honest. This should be a felony. An attempted murder charge should be given to parents or shall I say adults who do this to children, because a parent wouldn't do this to a child. It's ridiculous.
It's okay. Sometimes a small reminder can help save a life.
No,
police did make an arrest in this case. They've arrested Jaquan Dixon. They say he was the one that left those children in that hot vehicle. He's now charged with 2 counts of second-degree child cruelty.
So it was the Laquan. Oh, what's up, No News? Laquan. They should give you 2 counts of attempted murder. Yeah, it was the daddy or the uncle. It was is either the daddy, the uncle, or mommy's boyfriend. And you have to watch out for the seatbelt buckle. That thing gets hot. Yeah, that thing get hot. Woo, that sucker get hot. Oh my God, Laquan. Is anybody surprised?
We're live here in Cobb County. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
This morning, a breakthrough arrest more than a year after a Georgia teen was shot and killed on prom night. Police in Columbus announced 17-year-old Zion Horton has been charged in the murder of 16-year-old Darius Bryant. Bryant was shot April 20th of last year after leaving Manchester High School's prom. The high school junior played football, basketball, and also ran track at Manchester. We're told Horton will face a judge for the first time this morning.
5 this morning, a longtime librarian in South Georgia has now been fired over a summer reading display which included a book about a transgender child. Now, according to the Georgia Recorder, Lavanya Moore, who is in the middle of this picture, has worked at the Pierce County.
Defiant. This is fatigue. This is fatigue. In Georgia, you can't put that stuff out there, but she gonna do it anyway, because you know, always offended, accountable for nothing.
Public Library for 15 years. Moore said a book titled When Aiden Became a Brother was selected for the display by a child at the library. Moore says she didn't create the display herself and has actually since hired an attorney to explore legal.
So you let a child, you blame the child because as an adult, you didn't have the good sense God gave you to not only supervise the project, but also understand that, yeah, that book's not supposed to be out there. But you want to do it anyway, and you got caught. So now you want to blame the child. Okay.
Legal action.
Right. Certainly a complex issue for sure as it continues. Stetson Miller joining us live at 5 from Washington. Thank you so much.
Live at 5, people who are homeless in Atlanta say they are being pushed out by city leaders. Those who are unhoused living in the Old Fourth Ward say city officials placed closure notices on their encampment. They fear that closure could leave them with nowhere to go. Atlanta News First reporter Adam Murphy is live at 5 from the encampment on Old Wheat Street. And Adam, when do we know when people have to leave that area?
Tracy, the city said they intend to clean up this encampment early Thursday morning at 7:30, and they've even placed this sign right here. And as you can see, it says that everyone will need to be out by July 10th.
Justice for? Justice for?
The Justice for Cornelius Taylor Coalition voiced their opposition on the steps of City Hall on Monday. The group is outraged by the city of Atlanta's sudden decision to post closure notices at the Old Wheat Street homeless encampment.
Right after we had turned in a plan to not only house, but provide wraparound services, the city not only did not respond to that plan, they put up eviction signs saying everybody got to be out by the 10th.
This move comes just 6 months after Cornelius Taylor was run over and killed by a bulldozer during an earlier attempted cleanup of the encampment.
They killed my baby.
Taylor's fiance, Lolita Griffith, spoke out about the proposed closure of the encampment and said many of the residents there have been left behind.
I'm hurting because I thought that after all of this, that we would have a place to call home.
We've secured for Old Wheat Street, we've secured housing units for every person who is a resident of Old Wheat Street.
Meanwhile, city officials held a virtual news briefing earlier in the day and said they have invested $60 million to resolving homelessness citywide, and they will be housing all 14 people currently living at the encampment.
We'll begin to make housing placements this week over the next several days. So most folks will be able to move in prior to the closure, and will hopefully not even need to be on site during the actual closing activity.
I know they just had a press conference and said they got a bunch of residents involved, but we have some right now that say that they haven't heard from anybody.
The number out there is 28. They're going to quote 14. So that way, when we house 14, which just so happens to be the number of rooms they have over at Welcome House, when we house 14, then we can say we have housed 100% of the people on Old Wheat Street. The numbers do not withstand scrutiny.
I have no idea what the hell these people are talking about. But so apparently, I guess they went to clean out the camp, so they, instead of them they just take a bulldozer and they just sweep everything up into a pile. Then they get, the grabber, what I'm talking about, the construction equipment. They come in there, they pick it up with the grabber, throw it in the dump truck, and then run it down to the city dump. So I guess he didn't hear all that noise going on, and nobody did a sweep, or nobody did, hey, come on, let's go. Let's go, man. They running the bulldozers. Let's go. Everybody just left him behind, even his fiance. You homeless with a fiance. I mean, that was just, I'm sitting up here watching this. And I'm like, this dude is homeless with a fiance. And these people act like they care so much. If you cared so much, you wouldn't be homeless. Outside of a homeless shelter. But the homelessness problem in Atlanta is so big. It is so big. You saw it. Let me explain it, because I talked about this back in 20. Right? How did you not hear a loud bulldozer? At any rate, I'm not dismissing. I'm just saying, set that aside there. From 2020 on up, you saw the homelessness rate explode here in Atlanta. There were times like when I was down here during COVID, first moved down here and everything, when I was doing Lyft, and all you would see when you get off at some of these highway intersections, the on-ramp or the off-ramp, what I was seeing was a lot of black women in their late 30s, early 40s, standing there with they would have their COVID mask on, their sunglasses, holding up a sign, begging. And if you look off into the grass, you will see a tent in the back, their little encampment, because they were evicted. They were still clean though, homeless with a BBL, pretty much. I mean, these sisters would still be having their little culottes on, they fresh Nikes, and and the little blouses, having their hair done, but they was homeless. They were homeless, literally, and they all on the streets begging. Down here in Atlanta, 75, 85, and I-20, like I-20 cuts across the city from, east to west, whereas 285 encompasses the whole city. And then 75, 85 cuts right down the middle. So between 75, 85, and 20, this is the underpasses. The underpasses is like pretty much what we would call tent city. A lot of homeless people live there. You saw that just grow. It just exploded from 20 to 2023. I stopped kind of going through that area around that time, but it just exploded. The homelessness just exploded. I mean, people just, because COVID, you losing your jobs, your rent moratorium runs out. Some people didn't even have the good goddamn sense to sign up for it. And then, of course, at the end of 2023, 2024, but mainly 2023, like they stopped taking Section 8. It seems like right across the nation, and at the tail end of 2023, you saw a lot of housing complexes, apartment complexes, a lot of houses. They just stopped taking Section 8. So what happened to these people at the end of their leases? Like, you got to be out by January 1st. Whole apartment complex, we don't take Section 8. And nobody else was taking Section 8. So what happened to all of these people? Come the first. Yeah, they were out in the streets. This is when you had the rise of squatters. Remember 2024? The bulk of last year, you had all these cases of squatters and whatnot going on. Yeah. They still squat. They rent Airbnb for 29, 30 days. And then they stop paying. Then they don't leave. And they just start squatting. And then, of course, the laws protect the house thieves / squatters. It protects them. You have to pay the utility bills. You can't cut off the lights or the gas. You got to continue to pay your mortgage or your rent. And if you cut off the lights or the gas, or if you don't pay it, they arrest you. But it's like, well, if these people are legal tenants, then why do I have to pay their bills? Why do I have to pay their utility bills if they claim to be legal tenants? Try pulling that on your landlord right now. See what happened. As a legal tenant, see what happened. Wow, man. Wow. But you know, these are also the same people that stand up for illegals and say Trump is a racist for kicking them out of the country. You know, even though they usurp all your resources. People do not think.
Now, the city said the new units that they have secured for the people living out here will include air conditioning, linens, cleaning supplies, hygiene kits, and kitchenette tools. Now, this is obviously a developing story. There's that discrepancy about how many people are being cared for out here. We'll continue to monitor this and report it as the info develops. We're live here on Old Weed Street in Atlanta. Adam Murphy, Atlanta News First.
447 in Savannah over the weekend, there was a protest against horse-drawn carriages, which escalated when somebody took a watering bucket from the horses and drenched a city council member. That council member, Alderman Nick Palumbo, is proposing a cooler temperature requirement that would keep the horses inside when the temperature is above 85 degrees outside. The protest came after the Savannah city manager sent out a memo that could change how temperatures are measured to determine the limit in which horses can work out on the streets.
City Council on Thursday is going to get 3 proposals. One is wet bulb temperature, wet bulb globe temperature. One is 92 degrees, which doesn't do hardly anything. And then 85 degrees, which joins other cities at similar temperatures that reform this outdated practice.
During the protest, a man who worked with Savannah Carriage Tours stole a bucket of water from another horse-drawn carriage company and dumped it on Palumbo and other protesters, we've learned.
Yeah, that's the only thing I cared about. I guess a horse must have died in the heat or something, but I just want to see that councilman get, the alderman, it looks like, got doused with water. That was funny. Anyway.
Audit of Georgia's registered voters will take place over the next several months. This week, Georgia's Secretary of State said the first phase will include mailings to inactive voters to determine their status. The audit's also going to look at Postal Service data to identify voters who may have moved. And in addition, the state's using a new verification tool to look into the accuracy of residential addresses.
I think that may come in. I think this is one of those basic audits coming up for the primaries to make sure that they got the right people voting.
Weekend of July 4th celebrations turned violent with several shootings across the area. At least 5 people have been shot. Atlanta News First reporter Niamani Watson is live tonight at the DeKalb County Police Department in Tucker with more on the investigations.
Joy, right now, DeKalb County Police are investigating a shooting that put a teenager in the hospital. Neighbors tell us some of these shootings happened near or during 4th of July celebrations. Chapel Hill Park in Decatur taped off Saturday night after DeKalb County Police say a shooting left a 19-year-old in critical condition. Neighbors nearby say they thought the gunshots were fireworks at first.
Then just started hearing a barrage of, gunshots. And I saw people running to my yard, my neighbor's yard.
Police say 2 other women were injured but took themselves to the hospital. They're expected to be okay. In LaGrange, police say a man was shot at an apartment complex pool party.
I was scared.
At least 2 shootings happened on Friday, the July 4th holiday. At the Commons apartment complex in Northwest Atlanta, crime scene tape surrounded deflated bounce houses and water bottles were scattered on the ground. Atlanta police say 2 women were shot. Neighbors tell us an Independence Day celebration was going on at the time.
I want everybody to have a good time. And I ain't got to worry about that kid getting shot or get killed.
In Mableton, a man was shot around 6 p.m. Friday night on Concepts 21 Circle. Cobb County police say he was taken to the hospital where he later died. Neighbors say people should feel safe, especially during a holiday weekend, urging a stop to gun violence.
So it just has to stop. Just too much violence in the city. We got to do better, man, as a community, as a people.
Well, that damn white man That damn white man got y'all out there shooting and killing each other, because of racism, white supremacy. Put the gun in your hand, force you to pull the trigger. You say get ready for more people to be deleted on Labor Day weekend. Yeah.
Police have not yet said what led up to these shootings. They remain under investigation. Reporting live.
It's the ancestors trying to get racial revenge. Your great-great-grandfather owed me $20.
Ben Tucker, Neomani Watson, Atlanta News First.
Another shooting at a Metro Atlanta park. This time, 3 people were sent to the hospital, including a teenager. Atlanta News First Blake Devine is live this morning at the DeKalb County Police South Precinct. So, Blake, what exactly happened?
Yeah, what happened, Blake?
Megan, DeKalb County Police are still trying to piece together exactly who opened fire in Chapel Hill Park and why 3 people were shot, including one 19-year-old woman who was rushed away to the hospital. Now, investigators say this first happened around 7:30 on Saturday night within the park, which is located off Lehigh Boulevard over in Decatur. And throughout their hours-long investigation, police found several bullet shell casings on scene. The woman who was shot rushed to the hospital with critical injuries. 2 others also injured, although they drove themselves to the hospital and are expected to be okay.
Speaking of games, today, the first women's sports bar opened in Atlanta, and we saw a line out the door for Jolene. Jolene, this is at Pullman Yards, as Atlanta continues to cement itself as a sports city for everybody.
Seems like a lot of people are really excited to be out there
so.
today, and no doubt about it, understandable. As Atlanta News First senior reporter Patrick Quinn takes you inside the grand opening, but for many, this is just the beginning.
Plenty of hype here in Kirkwood as Jolene officially opens. Yes, it's the first women's sports bar in Atlanta. Women's sports will be on the TVs. And for those here, Atlanta deserves this space because Atlanta has demanded it.
We have? I don't remember ever demanding a women's only sports bar that only shows women's sports. So over under, how long before this place closes?
Today's the day.
A line out the door as the first women's sports bar, Jolene opens in Atlanta.
Everything new is a gamble, right? But I don't know. I'm not scared of it.
For owner Chelsea Fishman, this bet feels safe. They've hosted roughly 30 women's sports watching pop-ups. The local support is here, and so are women's sports, with several professional women's teams in the city, including the Atlanta Dream and the Atlanta Vibe.
Now that we can turn on a TV to actually watch them play, it's time we have a place that does that.
It is absolutely a celebration.
But for Leslie Dupree from Marietta, this is bigger than a sports bar. I asked her to take her sunglasses off. Only then did we hear the real motivation for her being here.
Community is everything, and not everyone has an opportunity for a safe space like this. I grew up in rural South Georgia. There's nothing like this there.
A first for the city and for the state.
Would you like ice as well?
For Fishman, absolutely, she wants fans of all kinds to have comfort in sports.
See, and that would have been game right there.
But also connection through community.
Oh, Lord.
And the grand
Yes,
opening of
nothing.
Atlanta's first women's sports bar on Independence Day is not lost on anyone here.
We're celebrating independence and freedom when we don't have independence and freedom as women, as LGBT, as women in sports. We don't have equality.
Women's sports gaining visibility in Atlanta, a celebration and a start.
There's something poetic about it, for sure, and that just women stepping into this freedom of, this freedom that we've been fighting for always. And in this case, it happens to be sports.
I mean, forever the victim. You say 17 days. Bro, that place gonna be dry like Sahara Desert. Didn't they learn from the women's only gyms? Right. Oh, that place is going to be, first and foremost, the self-victimization that these people have for themselves. Oh, we're forever victims. Like, trust me, nobody looks at you and sees that you're a lesbian white woman. I mean, unless you're very pronounced with it. But most people look at you as a human being. I mean, the one brother, we could tell he was limp-wristed because he had to look. But nobody's really discounting them. But ain't nobody coming after y'all like that. Stop playing like you're so ostracized, especially here in Atlanta. Are you kidding me? So this I didn't know about when I was going through the whole thing. So Plato's Closet apparently got evicted. And Plato's Closet it's one of those, it's a thrift store. You know, it's like a Salvation Army. Yeah, I didn't know that they got shut down. I didn't know they got evicted. Damn. This is like that beauty supply store where the owners passed away and the children didn't want anything to do with it, even though that beauty supply store put them through college. So, you know, paid their rent, it fed, housed, and clothed and educated them. So they let the beauty supply store, they let the rent go into foreclosure or whatever. So they got evicted and they threw all the stuff out in the streets, and the black women was trying to get all the beauty supplies, like all the hair, the Hawaiian silky and the makeup and stuff, and the police wouldn't let them have it. They wouldn't let them have it. Those black women down here, they threw a fit. They had to wait till a dump truck came with a backhoe to load that stuff up and take it to the dump. Hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars in product just went to waste. But anyway.
Clothing racks thrown into the parking lot of a DeKalb County shopping center, and bargain shoppers quickly gathered. Take a look at this video from outside of the Plato's Closet consignment store on Briarcliff Road, just off of North Druid Hills. Video of people rummaging through the clothing on the sidewalk actually led to some people driving to the store to see if they could find anything for themselves.
I have shopped there before. I've gotten multiple outfits there for birthday parties, etc., because they always had something cool. So that's part of why when I heard, oh, hey, they're shutting down and everything's out in the open, I was like, I should go and see if there's anything good.
We went to scan
We're still working to find out what led up to this exactly. We've reached out to police for more information.
Yeah, that's crazy. So here's what I found this out. I came home and I was told about this. Shoppers react to Kroger closures in Metro Atlanta. One of them is around the corner from me that I can walk to and have walked to several times.
Now we're learning more about Kroger's plan to close 60 stores around the country. 4 of them right here in Metro Atlanta. Channel 2's Audrey Washington's live on Beaufort Highway in DeKalb County, where some shoppers say they saw the closure coming.
Yeah, this one right here, this Memorial Drive Kroger. Yeah, it's right in my area. Shut it down.
Yeah, they told me that the closure, though they are disappointed to hear about it, that they knew that something would be happening here at this Kroger store along Beaufort Highway. We're learning that this store is one of 4 that will close here in Metro Atlanta. Mark Jarrett says he saw it coming.
I think it's a bad sign.
He lives near this Kroger store on Beaufort Highway in DeKalb County. It's one of 60 Kroger stores across the country set to close. He believes there are just too many different grocery stores along Beaufort Highway for Kroger to compete against.
There's an Aldi. There's a City Market.
But this Kroger in Brookhaven isn't the only one in Metro Atlanta getting the axe. According to the Ohio-based company, the stores on Douglas Road in Alpharetta and on Memorial Drive in Decatur will close. And the rather new store on Morosco Way off of Piedmont Road near Lindbergh Center will also shutter its doors.
It's very inconvenient.
A Kroger spokesperson said the closures are an effort to streamline operations and enhance efficiency. But these 2 shoppers say with all the apartments near provide. They can't believe the Lindbergh store made the shutdown list.
The reason I moved over here was because of the Kroger's.
I can't believe the closing because they make good business.
Now the two,
I've got fish and chicken.
along with many others, will have to find another place to pick up the weekly groceries.
I have a son. I guess he'll have to take his mother.
Yeah, you have to take his mama to go grocery shopping now. I was talking about this before when they was closing down the Walmarts last year because of all of the stealing and everything. Yeah, they closed down the Walmarts, the little grocery stores like these Kroger's and whatnot, the Piggly Wigglies, all those little stores, the Safeways. They shut them all down because of theft. Because of theft. Like Lewis will tell you, grocery stores operate on a very thin profit margin. Very thin profit margin. They make money, don't get me wrong, but it's not as much as people think it is. You lose a lot of money in produce. And dairy. Produce, dairy, and meat. Am I wrong, Lewis? If you still in there, you know, things that are perishable items. That's why, you know, when you go in the grocery store, you see that rump roast with the red sticker. You know, oh, it's going from instead of $12.99 a pound or whatever, you know, it's now going for half price. They got to hurry up and try to get rid of that stuff before they have to toss it out. You know, you're getting good deals, but you better hurry up and cook it. It's crazy. You see it happening. But yeah, they're slated to shut down, I believe, in September.
And the Kroger stores are set to close within the next 18 months. We went ahead and listed all of the store closures and their exact dates on our website. That's WSBTV.com. And we are live tonight here in DeKalb County. Audrey Washington.
Yeah, because the one around the corner from me, you've got, like the guy says, like there's an Aldi's nearby. Yeah, same thing with mine. You got the Kroger, you've got the Aldi's literally across the street, and then you got a Walmart literally across the street. That's wild. You got 3 grocery stores all within walking distance across the street from each other.
Channel 2 Action News.
Kroger lost out.
I requested a...
So, all right, y'all. So here's some Keisha violence. Women involved in Uber attack caught on video trade. They blame each other. Video tirade is what they meant to say. They left the I out, but they blame each other for the fight. Check this out.
Get the out the car. What the wrong with you? You got the right.
Violence in an Uber. Cell phone video captured the confrontation that ended with a passenger pepper spray.
Refund my money.
Channel 2's Audrey Washington is live now. And Audrey, this started with a dispute
What are you
over air
doing?
conditioning in that Uber vehicle.
Why are you in the car? What are you doing?
Yeah, things really got heated. The
You're doing
passenger
too
told
much.
me she was sitting in the back of an Uber like this with the window rolled down halfway. She asked that Uber driver to roll up the window and turn on the AC. She said when that didn't happen, that violent argument ensued.
I just wanted a cool Uber.
This is the viral video sparking controversy this week. In the video, 2 women, an Uber driver and her passenger.
Get the out the car. What the is wrong with you?
According to the passenger, popular sports reporter Tabitha Turner, the drama started when she ordered a comfort Uber from Hartsfield-Jackson Airport to her home on Saturday.
This is so hurtful.
She says because it was 90 degrees that
This is so hurtful. Forever the victim. Forever.
She says because it was 90 degrees that day, she asked the Uber driver to roll up the windows. But Turner says the driver refused.
She likes to leave the...
Probably because you stank. Probably because you stank. I'm a 50-50 it. Either it's because you stank Because like they said, it was 90 degrees outside. Or her air conditioning was busted. And she's a big chick. The other chick, yeah, she was a big, that was a big potato chips for breakfast. Keisha. Let's go.
Windows down in case customers are sick.
Turner tells me the driver, Miracle Smith, grew angry and demanded she get out of the car here along I-85 North in Hapeville. Turner's attorney says that's when things turned physical.
The Uber driver turns into the back seat and maces my client in the face.
Turner's attorney says his client tried to deploy her pepper spray in defense, but he says Smith then tried to physically pull Turner out of the car. The two women struggled on the side of the road.
I was like covered in blood.
Wednesday, the Uber.
Okay. First and foremost, as the passenger, if the driver don't want to roll up the window and they want to kick you out the car, get out the car. Especially when you saw the girl. Look, you can see the mace. You can see the mace in the girl's hand. Hold on.
See, and maces my client in the face.
Turner's attorney.
See that right there? That's the mace right there in her hand. That's the mace. And if she's at this point where y'all are arguing with each other and she got the mace in her hand, why is you arguing back with her? Get out the goddamn car. I'm not about to argue with you. Hey, can you roll the window up? Man, it's kind of hot. Like you blowing, like, oh, nah. Oh, well, you know what? Tell you what. Here, pull over. Can you drop me off at the nearest gas station? Can you drop me off at the nearest gas station? Just drop me off at the nearest gas station somewhere, man. All right. And then they'll probably oblige. And then you go ahead, you boop, I'm ride ended, and then you order a new one. There's nothing to argue about. Just get out the car. Have them drop you off, get out the car. Screw it. But they sit up here battling with mace. And then, of course, hold on, let me fast forward.
He says his client tried to deploy her pepper spray in defense, but he says Smith then tried to physically pull Turner out of the car. The two women.
Look, they slapping on each other. You see them slapping on each other?
Turner out of the car.
Look, she slapped her glasses off of her. Pop!
Two women struggled on the side of the road.
I was like,
yeah, so what happened was she got out, because I remember this story. This chick, this is the driver. After they deployed mace on each other, she gets out the car and caught herself trying to pull the other girl out the car. So the other girl, the sportscaster girl, whooped her ass on the side of the road. Whooped her natural ass. Whooped her ass. And she deserved it. You shouldn't have got you deserved it.
The side of the road.
I was like covered in blood.
Wednesday, the Uber driver, Miracle Smith, spoke out. Though she is now facing battery charges, she says Turner was the aggressor.
I am essentially fighting for my life.
During our interview, Smith became overwhelmed and broke down in tears.
I have to relive this over and over and over again.
Still,
you gotta relive that ass whooping over and over and over again. She having nightmares about that ass woman. Woo! I thought we were children of the sun, that he shouldn't bother us. Right. This is why I quit doing Uber. People are nuts. Man, look. I moved down here. I got caught up in a precarious situation, but once everything switched. Oh, never again. And she got jumped by one person. Yeah, this woman whooped that Uber driver's ass.
Turner says Smith did not tell the truth about what happened. Turner says she's now dealing with the backlash on social media.
Look at she faking tears. The other chick faking tears.
The backlash on social media.
People questioning my character. Of what she said.
Both of y'all ain't shit. Both y'all ain't shit.
And I just heard back from Hateville Police about 20 minutes ago. They told me that the warrant is now signed. Miracle Smith told me she plans to turn herself in. Uber said in a statement that this kind of behavior is never acceptable. And we are live here.
Yeah, Miracle the driver. Yeah, you getting charged with assault because you pepper sprayed her, and then you got the car and you tried to assault her. You got the car, tried to assault her, except that chick, the other chick, she looked like she run on the treadmill. Okay, she looked like she work out. Yo, fat potato chip eating self, you was no match. You was no match. She lumped you up. Let's move on.
Community activists, they gathered at City Hall today demanding some answers. That's what they were looking for. Chicago police released the numbers for the weekend. The numbers are from Thursday through the 3rd. I should say Thursday the 3rd through yesterday. And police say there were 32 shooting incidents, 44 people were shot, and
Chicago,
9 people were killed. The victims range.
This is Chicago. Typical shooting incidents, 32 shooting victims, 44 deaths, 9. Wow, that's pretty low. 9 deaths out of all these shootings and incidents? Shooting incidents and victims? Let's say these were all separate, the 44 and the 32. Excuse me. So that's 76. Only 9 deaths, and victims age range from 19 to 52 in Chicago. I remember when Trump was first president, the first time he was president, and he wanted to send the National Guard to Chicago to stop this type of stuff from happening, and people called him racist. People called him racist because he wanted to stop. He wanted to declare Chicago for black folks a national emergency, which it is. It's a national emergency. This is crazy. This is insane. That's why this 9 deaths is extremely low for all these shootings. Yeah, he wanted to send in the National Guard, and people called him racist for it.
Range in age from 16 to 52. The shooting incidents included 2 in which at least 4 people were shot. An activist at the news conference today says Mayor Brandon Johnson needs a better plan to address violence.
This needs to stop. The mayor needs to implement some sort of safety plan because Chicagoans all across the city is absolutely afraid to even come out of their house. We have children being shot in parks. We have children being shot just walking down the street. We have people being shot going to the restaurant or the club. This is not Chicago. We're better than this.
But the illegals, you got to take care of the illegals first, bro. We got to take care of the illegals first. We got to make sure that they get the Medicaid and the welfare and the food stamps. What you talking about? What you talking about? We got to take care of the illegals first. And then, you got to do the reparations. You got to give black businesses loans that they can't afford to pay back to open up all types of stupid ass businesses. What is you talking about? Because Trump bad. No, what you talking about? These people, they just having tickle fights. That's all with lead. What you talking about? They're throwing the bullets. They're not actually shooting the bullets out of the gun. They're walking around with the bullets in their pockets and they're throwing them at each other like rocks. Some of them have thrown them super hard, yes, where they broke in the skin and people needed to be hospitalized. But they just need to not throw them so hard. Don't you know that? Trump's fault.
The violent holiday weekend comes after Chicago recorded the fewest homicides during the first 6 months of the year in a decade. There were 192 homicides reported in Chicago between January 1st and June 30th, according to data from the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. Now, this represents about a 33% decrease compared to the first 6 months of 2024.
Attempted kidnapping caught on camera. This unsettling video shows a man snatch a boy off the street in Coney Island with his.
Remember we covered this yesterday? For those of y'all who wasn't here, I covered this. The guy, the little foreign dude, tried to kidnap and grape a little black kid.
Attempted kidnapping caught on camera. This unsettling video shows a man snatch a boy off the street in Coney Island with his parents quickly chasing after.
Fox 6 Kendall Green is live in Brooklyn. Kendall, the video is just heart-stopping, and you actually talked to the mom and the little boy. How are they doing tonight?
Yes, this is the people that are in the thumbnail. It's Natasha Verman, her fine ass. That woman is fine. But yeah, anyway.
Right.
Hey, good evening, Steve and Natasha. This family tells me they just came to Coney Island to enjoy the amusement park, to eat some popcorn and make memories with their families, just like many of the families do come out here. And things just took a turn when the suspect tried to attempt to kidnap this 6-year-old within feet of his family, and it was all caught on camera. Now, 36-year-old Jonathan Robolino is under arrest tonight. Police say that he's the man seen in this video attempting to run off with the child in Coney Island last night. And the boy's parents tell us the family was walking together from the amusement park just before 10 p.m. near the intersection of Surf and Stillwell Avenues, and that's.
And instead of holding the little boy's hand, you was too busy scarfing shit down your fucking throats to keep an eye on your child at night.
When they say Robolino literally picked up the child like a football, and the child can be heard on camera calling for one of his parents as he was lifted off the sidewalk. Now, thankfully, he didn't get too far, but we caught up with the child's mom and asked her about the moment last night, watching her child in a stranger's arms, inching further and further from safety.
Somebody ran to him and scooped him up, unbeknownst to me. I heard him yell. I turn around. There's a complete stranger with my son footballing him like a football, holding him in his arm and running away. I run towards him. I say, hey, what happened? He ignores me, keeps running. When he saw he couldn't outrun me, he slammed him to the ground midair. Head hit the concrete. His knees hit the concrete. He's screaming. I couldn't worry about that. I had to go catch him because the police were doing nothing.
It was scary. I bumped into the guy to go to the candy shop to get popcorn, and the guy threw me on the ground for a reason. Then all the people said, stop! He threw me on the ground.
Mr. Robolino, what made you grab that 6-year-old child?
I wanted to screw him. And I thought he was wearing a turban. This dude, that's his hair. Freaking, and he's an illegal.
Anything to say to his parents? Now that was.
And of course, you know, they won't hold him for ICE to come and pick him up from Rikers Island from the jail, because you know we have to fight against ICE in New York because they're evil.
The suspect being walked from the 60th precinct, and Robolino is facing charges that include assault, attempted kidnapping, and failure to exercise control of a minor. Now, that 6-year-old was taken to the hospital for evaluation, and he and his parents, they returned back out here to tell their story. They said they did not want to let that incident ruin their experience, which was supposed to be a good one here on Coney Island. But that's the latest here in Coney Island. Kendall Green.
So you really didn't give a damn about the kid. He almost got kidnapped, raped, and murdered by an illegal. You go out the next day to where this guy, Kendall Green, catches back up with you out there on the streets. You notice they didn't interview the father. They interviewed the child before they even interviewed the father.
Fox 5 News.
Oh my God.
All right, good for them. All right, thanks.
New York.
Kendall, well,
An MTA station agent speaking out after being attacked.
Okay, well, okay. New York is stepping their game up. New York is stepping their game up.
Attacked while on the job. It happened over the week. An MTA station agent speaking out after being attacked while on the job. It happened over the weekend at the new Lot station in Brooklyn. And Fox 5's Antoine Lewis joins us live from there now with more of this terrifying ordeal. Antoine.
Why do it look like they were trying to outdress each other? You know, they both got the little off-the-shoulder dresses, got the hair. She got her hair this way. She got her hair that way. At least she got the necklace. You know, Natasha, wear the necklace, babe. With a necklace, baby. Anyway, they both looking good. You know, you gotta give them $2 for that. They both look good.
Terrifying is a very good way to describe it, Bianca. It took place at the station in back of me, and the woman very brave for coming forward. Let's show you some pictures. You have to actually see the injuries because she wanted that out there as well. Now you're taking a look at pictures of MTA station agent Marsha Lee Reed. She's 51 years old. She's showing the injuries that she received to her face during Saturday's assault. She says she's still dealing with a lot of great deal of pain, and at one point she was punched in the face by one of the suspects who actually had a set of keys in her hand. Let's show you some of the scene. This happened at the New Lot Station in East New York, Brooklyn, which is where we are. Here's what took place. Reed was helping an elderly man with the Omni Pay device system, and she walked him over to the gate to allow him to go through. At that point, officials say a woman jumped the turnstile while
this guy just did right here. Like this guy just did right here. Watch. Hold on, back it up. Watch him right here. Right here. Watch him. Watch this.
Say a woman jumped the turnstile while a second woman then.
You saw him jump the turnstile. Camera's right there. No, but just give it. So what happened? But I'm gonna say this again. Hold on. New York, their biggest issue is these turnstiles are garbage. These turnstiles are garbage. You trying to stop people from jumping the turnstiles, but these are garbage. You need the kind that's they look like the spaghetti. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Nope, here they go. All right, so you need these type of turnstiles. You need these type. Let's see here, see if I can open it up. There you go. New York should have these type of turnstiles. You get these type of turnstiles, you don't have to worry about people skipping the fare. You don't have to worry about them jumping the gate because they can't. They can't. Get these type of turnstiles and you good. Especially in your problem areas. And that way you Miss Greta Garbo or whatever hell her name is, she don't have to worry about getting attacked.
Was helping an elderly man with the Omni Pay device system, and she walked him over to the gate to allow him to go through. At that point, officials say a woman jumped the turnstile while a second woman then asked the Agent Reed, if she could also go through the gate. The agent told her, no, you need to pay your fare just like everyone else. And police say that's when the first woman, the one who initially jumped the turnstile, pushed the agent down to the ground, and then both of the women started to attack her. The agent was kicked in the face, she was punched, she was hit, but she's also speaking out about that. And take a listen to this.
I'm talking to you people because I want you to get this out to make them know that, yes, they are wanted. There's consequences for their crime.
What's the consequence?
So
these are the two women. Oh God. What is she? Oh God. I'm glad I ate 2 hours ago.
The police are looking for. Police say both are between the ages of 25 to 30, light complexions. One, as you can see, has short black hair. The other has orange hair. And these are the clothes that police say they had on at the time of the incident. And just in case anyone needs reminding, it is a felony offense to attack an MTA employee with a maximum sentence being 7 years in prison. Here's the union.
And I can tell you something that's even more concerning. They had a child with them. A child with them. This is the teachings that they're giving their children to grow up to be able to assault innocent people.
Yeah.
These individuals need to be stopped. We're not going to stop till they do the 7 years.
Authorities say that Marsha Lee Reed's injuries are non-life threatening. She is expected to recover, but police need your help in identifying those two women that we just showed you. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. You know the number, 1-800-577-TIPS. We're in East New York.
Y'all know the number. You say New York City has those too? Yeah, we just saw a guy jump the turnstile in this report. They need more. They don't have enough. Speaking of New York,
Turning now to the race for New York City mayor.
Oh my God. So she's back, huh? Okay. All right. Let's get in on Mamdani. I never did get to talk about this dude, but let's deal with this dude right now. Let's get into this communist Sharia law Muslim that's looking to be the next mayor of New York.
That's right. And tonight we are learning more about whether some of the top Democratic leaders in the state are ready to throw their support behind Zohran Mamdani.
Fox 8's Morgan McKay joins us now in the studio with the very latest. Hi, Morgan.
Hey, Bianca, Natasha. So Democratic leaders right now, for the most part, are holding off on endorsing Zohran Mamdani in the mayoral race. But Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie said he'll have a lot more to say tomorrow after the last big batch of votes are released, and left the door open to raising taxes on millionaires and corporations, one of Mamdani's key proposals.
I have a little more to say when the results become official after tomorrow. Since I've been speaking, we've always asked those who have more to contribute a little more so that everybody in the state and the city will know.
I ain't hear a word he
But
said.
so far, both national and state Democrats are holding Mamdani at arm's length and are focusing instead on his message of affordability rather than his ties to democratic socialism as the key that influenced voters. House Minority Leader.
Look, there's no such thing as democratic socialism. There's no such thing as democratic socialism. No such thing as democratic socialism. I wish people would stop saying that. There's no such thing.
Leader Hakeem Jeffries declined to endorse Mamdani when put on the spot this weekend and said while he plans to meet with him soon, he wants Mamdani to clarify his position on Israel and anti-Semitism, especially when it comes to the phrase globalize the intifada, a phrase Mamdani has not condemned. Governor Kathy Hochul has not endorsed Mamdani, but says she spoke with him yesterday about their common goals, but added that she shared with him the concerns of some in the Jewish community. She also responded to comments made by President Donald Trump this weekend, who was asked about Mamdani's primary night win.
If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money. He's got to do the right thing.
We're not going to be intimidated by threats from Washington, not now, not ever. If there's any attacks on our next mayor, or whoever the mayor is that the voters want, then they've got to get through me first.
So tomorrow, Tuesday, the Board of Elections will be releasing the results of ranked choice voting. I'm hearing probably around noon, and that's where we're going to see the true results of the primary. And then they're going to be officially finalizing those votes on July 15th.
All right, Morgan.
Don't you feel out of place? I wanted to leave us alone, but you wearing a common housewife dress next to these two beautiful women. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's pretty too. And, you know, all three of them, they're very pretty women. But, I mean, come on, chick. I know you feel this. I know you feel outclassed. Let's not play like you don't. You look like you about to go wash the dishes, hang the laundry up in the backyard, and then go pick the kids up from soccer practice. Let me stop.
Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani may now be in the driver's seat to run America's biggest city. Mamdani declared victory over former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Blue City's Democratic mayoral primary yesterday. And some are viewing his win as a message to the wider Democratic Party, which may push them to go all in on far-left candidates. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Compagno here with my co-host, Harris Faulkner. And also joining us today, Molly Line, Fox News correspondent, Noah Tishby, Israel's first special envoy for combating anti-Semitism and best-selling author, and Lawrence Jones, co-host of Fox and Friends. Now, the 33-year-old state assemblyman held a commanding lead over the three-term ex-governor all night long. Cuomo conceded in Tuesday's primary after trailing by roughly 70,000 votes. The New York Post asking for a lifeline on today's cover, calling Mamdani's victory a, quote, political earthquake, not just for the city, but for the entire state of the Democratic Party. And this might be why. Here are just some of his plans for New York City. Watch.
And our police force should not be assisting ICE.
Defund the NYPD and refund all of these different social services.
I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce.
I'll freeze the rent for millions of tenants, make buses fast and free, and deliver universal childcare. And before you ask, I'll pay for it by taxing the rich.
The mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism.
Mamdani was endorsed by key progressives like Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC pushed for voters to choose his ultra-liberal policies. And now that her endorsement helped lock in his likely nomination, it may signal a path for AOC with voters in 2028. Political commentator Chris Cillizza put it this way.
If I'm Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who, as I mentioned, endorsed Mamdani, and I see this result, I am thinking this is terrific for me. It shows that there's energy in the liberal activist base of the party. It shows that the establishment is crumbling, right? All these politicians who are not AOC, other than Bernie Sanders, are in some way, shape, or form part of the establishment, right? Josh Shapiro or Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom, all these people have spent years in elected office. If I'm looking at this, I am thinking this bodes very well for me. It suggests that mad as hell Democratic voters are not going to just default back to a Joe Biden-like figure in 2028.
Noah, politics aside for the moment, to me, far more frightening and far more stark than his progressive policies and plans with no backup, his lack of experience, etc., is his blatant and rife anti-Semitism.
Yes, it's horrific, to be honest with you. And this is not just terrible for Israelis and for the Jewish community. This is terrible for Americans. Let me start with the first thing that, to me, is the most violent and the most vile, which is his whitewashing of what Intifada is about. So he keeps saying that globalized Intifada means something else for different people. That is not true. I have lived through 2 Intifadas. I know exactly what they mean. An Intifada means a violent uprising against the Jews. It means car bombing and bus bombing and ramming through people with cars. It means stabbing and shooting. That's what that means. And to globalize that means to take into America and into Western civilization what we have been through in the Middle East. That's number one. Let's take the other thing, right? He's talking about the Holy Land Five. In his rap song in 2017, he said, I'm in love with the Holy Land Five. So let's explain what the Holy Land Fives are. They are convicted criminals that have been convicted in 2008 for material support for Hamas. In 2001, the Holy Land Foundation was actually dismantled. In 2001, it was shut down. And in 2008, they were convicted. These 5 people were convicted for supporting Hamas. He is saying that he is in love with those people and asking you to look them up. So I say, absolutely look them up. That guy is so radical. He might be some sort of a Trojan horse, not just for Marxism, which is what he's actually saying, but for jihadism. He is supporting the concept of this. He refuses to acknowledge Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. He's very coy about this, right? So when he goes on national television, he goes, well, yes, Israel has the right to exist. But when asked on the debate stage, do you think Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state? He refuses to answer. This is a terrible news, not just for Jews, for every single American and everybody who supports Western values. It's horrible. And Lawrence, it's why.
Here's the crazy part. He's backed by Jews in New York. He's backed by Jews in New York. I mean, just like how black people backed Kamala Harris, backed Jasmine Crockett, you know, they backed Roland Martin and Ricky Smiley them. Yeah. They're the same type of Jews. They back people that are anti-them. It's wild. It's wild.
It's so shocking for you and I that live here too. This is an individual who refused to condemn the Holocaust twice. And now all of a sudden he's the front runner for the Democratic Party here. What message does this send about the landscape currently?
Well, it shows that the Democratic Party hasn't learned a lesson from the prior election. It's not common sense. New York has to decide if they want to be an American city or they want to be a socialist city. Some of his policy, he wants a rent rent freeze. He wants city-run grocery stores. He wants to defund the police. Now, we tried that experiment, and we saw how that worked in New York City. He said if Netanyahu comes to New York City, he's going to have him arrested. Now, when Tom Homan was trying to work with the NYPD to arrest the criminals, he got up all in his face. He also wants free buses, a $30 minimum wage, $70 billion for housing. None of this is going to work. It's going to bring the city into even more debt, and people are going to move to my great state of Texas and Florida. But again, the voters get to decide. Either you can have him, or you can get someone a little bit moderate in Adams or Sliwa, who's running as a Republican.
Little bit.
This right here, it may work for New York City, but not for the rest of the country.
And Harris, we can put up this on the wall here. We have this platform that Lawrence just articulated. And, you know, I always sort of credited New Yorkers. I thought we were a little bit smarter than that.
Let me explain something to you. This whole city-owned grocery stores, I did a video on this last year where and I mean, I can show it to you if y'all want me to. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all want me to show y'all. I can show y'all what a government-owned grocery store looks like. Because what they do is they limit you from being, let's say, like you want to get a bag of oranges. In a government-owned grocery store, no. You can't get a bag of oranges. You can get 1, maybe 2, 3 at the most. There is no buying 3 packs of chicken. You can't get 3 packs of chicken wings and, you know, some legs and some thighs. No, you can only get 1. You only get 1. Loaf of bread, you only get 1. There's no 3. There's no doubling and tripling up. There's none of that. No, there's no freedom to buy what you want to buy in a city, state, or government run grocery store. This is why people starve and die under communism. Because not only can you only get that loaf of, it ain't like you can go buy that loaf of bread today and then leave and come back a couple hours later and buy another loaf of bread, or it's 3 of y'all all in line in the same house and y'all each try to pay for it. No. Come back next month to get your loaf of bread. It's terrible. It's terrible. This is why people die.
Someone promises free buses and free everything. I mean, this isn't an 8th grade president campaign. This is mayor. And somehow people are falling for this, again, under the veneer of a faux jihad. I mean, it is just frightening right now, but none of this makes sense either.
Yeah, I give him a lot more credit than that. I don't think it was an 8th grade campaign. I don't agree that people don't think those policies can work. You know why? Because Democrats aren't selling policy. He is. I think the greatest danger for Republicans right now in a city and state like New York, because it's turning more red and red and red. They got to jump in now, get in there, back their candidates. You saw Trump for governor. You saw him backing Jack Ciattarelli over in New Jersey. I mean, you've got to kind of, I know that's the neighbor next door, but it's an opportunity for Republicans to really jump in the water here. What he's selling is policies, and they're horrible policies. And Noah gave us an example politically what this could look like, and personally as a Jewish American what it looks like. But for all of us, this is very communist. This is beyond socialism. Yeah. But look at who's at his side, AOC, who does nothing really for her district here in New York. But what they do together is they fund. They come up with dollars. They do. And when he says a city-run grocery store, he's talking about communism. He's talking about the government running things. How much better is the government feeding your family than you? I mean, we have food stamps and those types of programs that come with restrictions. He wants no IDs. Don't pay for your busing. It's already dangerous enough to get on public transportation in New York City without knowing who's going to be your neighbor. He doesn't want to vet anybody here. That's going to be a problem. But running as an independent in this country, we don't have a high percentage of winners in that category anywhere you look. So Cuomo, I don't know if he's going to do it. If he couldn't get through a primary against this guy, I don't think he can beat him. But Adams, as an independent, you got to pick a lane, buddy.
Molly, talk to us about what this represents, because to Harris's point, so this assemblyman, frankly, has zero experience of any type of value, right? He comes out, he has these platform policies without saying how to pay for them other than tax the rich. It feels very neophytic and sort of echo chamber, insular, which is typical of those far left radicals. But the reality is he has amassed an incredible amount of followers and somehow it worked. So apparently experience 0, but social media influencer attractiveness is a 10 on the scale. What does this bode for campaigns moving forward?
Yeah, what does it bode for campaigns all across the country? Is this more evidence of the progressive side rising, of the left rising in the Democratic Party and these Democratic circles? And what will this mean for candidates and races, Democratic races all across the country?
I will tell you flat out what it means. What it means is that the left they have been so radicalized and they've slowly moved themselves into communism, into socialism, communism, that they're now ready to accept communism. They think communism under the guise of socialism, where everybody gets something for free, and everybody has their rights. That's the lie that they've sold them, that everybody has their rights. But no, you don't. Let me show you. I'm gonna show you what it looks like, because I found it. I pulled it up. Here you go. I'll show you exactly what it looks like. As you see, supermarket in America, anything you want. Supermarket in Cuba, communism. That's what you'll be looking at. Empty shelves. No stocks, no nothing. A butcher. Yeah, that's what communism looks like. He wants a state-run grocery store. That's exactly what it's going to look like.
As people are promising in these various districts to see the liberals rise, to fight off the moderates, to hold primaries. We'll see how that ends up when we hit at these general elections. And as you mentioned, this is just the primary in New York City. One quick thing, when the opposing team is celebrating with glee about a win, you have to ask. So the Republican campaign committee, the National Republican Campaign Committee, said this: the new face of the Democratic Party just dropped straight out of a socialist nightmare. If you engineered the modern Democratic Party in a lab, you'd get Zohran Mamdani, anti-Semitic, anti-police, anti-American. Every vulnerable House Democrat will own him, and every Democrat running in a primary will fear him. That's the NRCC spokesman, Mike Marinella.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and
it's this guy is terrible. He's terrible. And that's why I read, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I read yesterday where I put on the show that they passed in a law or reinforced it that they can denaturalize somebody that's been a naturalized U.S. citizen. That means, you passed the test, they swore you in, so now you're a naturalized citizen, where they can strip that away and kick you right the hell up out of this country. And Mamdani was the force behind them wanting to do that or needing to do that. So don't worry, he won't be around long. If he wins the race, he won't be around long. If he makes
critics say Democrats' rhetoric about ICE is helping to fuel all the recent violence we've been seeing. Here's just a few recent examples.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons.
People are
foreign torture dungeons.
Terrified for their lives and for their neighbors. Folks getting snatched off the street by secret police who are wearing
secret police. They're called ICE.
Wearing masks.
Every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
Some of the most inspiring things have been when people encircle.
Oh no, I shouldn't tell Hakeem Jeffries to try it, but because we know Pam Bondi is going to lie and just say that, he's under investigation, and of course, the investigation is sitting on my desk. And then, a couple months later, well, I said that it was sitting on my desk, but I didn't know what was in the investigation. And we investigated Hakeem Jeffries and all of these people, and we found out that, they killed themselves. There was a minute gap in the speech that he gave, and, the most critical piece of evidence is missing. So therefore, the investigation is over. Just like they did with James Comey.
Courtrooms and refused to allow ICE agents in.
So you might have seen this one yesterday. Axios out with this headline, quote, Democrats told to get shot for the anti-Trump resistance. One lawmaker told the outlet, quote, our own base is telling us that what we're doing is not good enough, that there needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public. Here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Hold on. Let me say this. Let me tell you something. Because I wanted to make this a whole separate video, and maybe I should, but I will, so that way you can get the attention that it deserves. Let me tell you, stupid motherfucker, something. You go out there and you do what you did this weekend, where you attacked ICE agents. And I've been saying this, that Trump has been very soft with what was going on. They had no idea what they were talking about. Oh, ABM, you late. You behind. He pressing the one now. I've already covered it, but you'll catch up. Let me tell you something. In all honesty, I get what Trump is trying to do by having the ICE officers show tremendous restraint with these protesters that are getting all up in their faces and everything. I get that, but with the rise of the attacks on ICE agents, I think there's over 400% now. You're throwing firecrackers at them and whatnot, incendiary devices. People are throwing water bottles. You need to adopt what the Florida method, because if you notice down in Florida, I mean, all that alligator Alcatraz and all of that stuff, like that sheriff said, hey, look, if you hit one of our officers, you will be sent to the hospital first and then to prison. If you hit one of us and run, you will go to jail tired. If you call yourself trying to get a little bit too violent, we will kill you graveyard dead and tell your family where to pick up your ashes. And it was backed up by the state attorney general and Governor Ron DeSantis by saying, hey, look, you block a roadway, you call yourself trying to mob a car, I give these people permission to mow your asses down. I'll be damned if I sit up there and let somebody who has nothing to do with this get their car mobbed, drug out. There will be no Reginald Denny situation in Florida. I give you permission to run these motherfuckers over. And if you notice, very few people got arrested. I think it was like 4 to 6 people got arrested during this whole No Kings protest and whatnot. About 4 to 6 people got arrested in Florida. The people stayed out the roadway. They got video of the people. The light turned red. They stand there with their little signs, in the middle of traffic where the cars are stopped, not impeding traffic, but when the lights start turning yellow on the other side, they quickly mosey their asses back to the sidewalk. Light turn green, cars keep going. That's how you protest peacefully. You can show your signs and everything, but don't get in the way. Don't get physical. Don't be out here spray painting buildings. Don't be out here burning cars and breaking windows and looting. Graveyard dead. That should be a national that should be implemented nationally on a federal level, especially for ICE agents. They should have the right to blow your ass away. You feel threatened? Pepper spray, bear mace. Those people out in Portland, Oregon, that's been out there so bad that they're disturbing the people that live in that area, told the black woman to go fuck herself, shut the fuck up, bitch. Man, whoo, that couldn't have been my mama you out there talking to. You caught one. You and your little faggot little boyfriend. You the fucking caught one. Y'all have caught one that night. But they need to go out there with not the water cannons, but you can go out there with the water cannons, but they need to be loaded with mace cannons. You're gonna burn your eyes out of your head. Get the fuck back. These little rubber bullet guns. I saw a guy, he hit a cop with a frozen water bottle. They lit his ass up with the rubber bullets, and he turned right back around, grabbed something else, and threw it right back at him. He was unfazed. You need to break out the old school wooden batons and start busting these fuckers upside the head. You need to start splitting skulls to the white meat. You need to start breaking bones, breaking arms, busting kneecaps open and macing them to let these people know, back the fuck up. You got two ICE agents were shot. Luckily, they weren't killed over the weekend. But you trying to be so nice and we're not the Gestapo. Fuck that. Fuck that. You acting like you showing everybody that you some weak ass, punk ass niggas. That's what you doing. That's why they ramping up their attacks on you. You start fucking these people up, I guarantee you they'll back off. They'll be scared. They won't be talking about we need to. Yeah, and keep in mind, these are rich white people telling them to go out there. You shouldn't be scared to get shot by an ICE agent. Get out there. If you really believe, go get shot. Of course, we know Pam Bondi ain't gonna have nobody fucking arrested. That feckless bitch. You know, they let this shit go on. You start busting skulls, all of this talk will stop. All these assaults will stop. Start cracking some skulls with nightsticks. Start burning people's eyes out with mace. Start shooting them when they throw stuff at you. Let them know, hey, your little force is at a 1. We'll meet you with a 5 in retaliation. You start letting them know that. You start sending the message, they'll back off. They'll back off. They'll back off. You letting these people play games. You putting these ICE agents in danger by being soft on their violent assaulters. Take the leash off the dog and let the dog do what the dog is supposed to do. They're supposed to be protecting America, right? But you won't let them protect themselves? The fuck type of strategy is that? I know y'all leaving because I'm cursing, but I mean, you have to put yourself in these ICE agents' shoes. If you've seen these videos, these people are getting mobbed. You got a whole mayor sitting up here, stop, get out of my city. You need to crack that chick upside her goddamn head and tell her to go fuck herself.
We certainly call on Democrats to tone down their rhetoric against ICE and Border Patrol agents who, again, are everyday men and women. I would encourage AOC and other Democrats to actually meet with the United States Border Patrol. These are honorable Americans who are just simply trying to do their job to enforce the law.
And hell with all that, instead of telling them to tone down their rhetoric, you need to start slapping cuts on these people for inciting violence. They're inciting violence, and Pam Bondi and Trump and them sit up there with their feet up on their desks and just trade barbs back and forth. Fuck, you're fucking weak. This is weak. This is weak leadership. Weak leadership.
And Seattle radio host Jason Rantz, kind enough to join us this morning. Jason, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. So look, we've heard all this rhetoric from Democrats calling ICE the Gestapo, calling them kidnappers, calling them a terrorist force. Then they come out and apparently feel like they got to get blood. Well, they got it yesterday, Jason. We've now had 2 back-to-back violent attacks. Your thoughts?
Well, unfortunately, I think it's going to continue. And some of us have been warning about this for years. Antifa cells changing their tactics. They went from violent protests to more violent direct action. A lot of these people are disillusioned. They're radicalized. Frankly, they're domestic terrorists, and they're between the ages of 18 and 35. Many of them come from upper middle class households. They're wearing black bloc for a reason, because they don't want to be identified for the crimes they are committing. And rather than focus attention on these people, rather than call out the radicals, what if we heard generally from press, particularly left-wing press, none of this is happening? How many years did we have to sit through the Antifa rioting from BLM from 2020 through today, in which we were told that none of this was happening, that it was all a claim that was created by conservative media? They've been emboldened. And now these very disillusioned, delusional lunatics are being told that literal Nazis are walking the streets courtesy of Donald Trump. They actually believe that. And so if you believe that there are Nazis out there just randomly picking up Americans, you might be called to violence. And that is a problem that they refuse on the left to identify as such. They're continuing to use this rhetoric. They're still using this language. They're still calling this out. They are encouraging this, whether or not they want to admit it.
And you might have seen out here in LA yesterday, there was a massive ICE operation in downtown in the MacArthur Park area. LA Mayor Karen Bass showed up in the middle of that operation. She tried to interrupt it and stop it. She was scheduled to meet with California Governor Gavin Newsom during that raid. She showed up and tried to interfere. Take a listen.
They need to leave, and they need to leave right now. A city or a country under siege by their military in preparation for a coup. That's the imagery that I had in my mind.
So, Jason, while she was down there, she was on the phone with a Border Patrol official who organized that operation. I interviewed that Border Patrol official a short time after that exchange, asked him what is his message for Mayor Bass. Here's what he said.
The federal government is not leaving LA. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now, because this is going to be normal very soon.
Jason, he's basically telling Mayor Bass, get lost.
Yeah, that's exactly what the message should be. Karen Bass is not a hero, even though she wants to play one on TV. This is a lunatic member of the progressive base that is creating the division. And at the end of this, if anyone's upset about any action by ICE, you have Democrats and Joe Biden to blame. Had they not had the border open for as long as they did, this would not have been necessary. They created this, and they don't want to acknowledge it.
All right, Jason Rantz, got to leave it there. Thanks for coming on this morning. And thank you, as always, for your insights. We will see where this goes next.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest.
Patrol Chief Mike Banks. Chief, thanks so much for joining us today.
I wouldn't say that. Say stupid people don't watch my show. I wouldn't say that. You know what? Look, people don't like my style. It's fine. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not here to make $1 million trying to be a YouTube star or a social media star or anything like that. I do this stuff to get this off my chest. Some of my friends call me. I talk to them about politics. What am I going to talk to them about? I'm 53 years old. I'm going to talk to them about Jordans. You know what I'm saying? Occasionally we might talk about a TV show. We might talk about our family lives. But overall, it's politics because we live here. These are the things that's going on around us. You know, you need to be informed, or else when you do call yourself dipping your toes in the political spectrum, I mean, you're listening to people that they blame. You say, why not talk about Jordans? They're talking about blaming everything on the white man. Everything's the white man's fault. You got people that are sitting up here married to white people, but got the nerve to say that, white men are racist and are a cancer and a danger to the world. But yet, they sleeping with their so-called enemy, swallowing all his protein in the middle of the night, probably having race play. You know what I'm saying? AOC, Ilhan Omar, they're married to white men. Don Lemon married to a white man. All of this came out last year. All these people married to white men. Nobody wants to marry Jasmine Crockett. She's such a cancerous person. But she got her Negro wake-up call. I meant to cover that. But man, listening to her voice is like nails on the chalkboard. Maybe I'm that way with some people too. I don't know. I don't really care. I have people that, you don't blame white people enough. I pretty much had a guy say that you don't blame white people enough. Blame them for what? Blame them for what? You guys have been hearing me put my foot in Pam Bondi's posterior for the past couple of weeks now. Now I'm sitting up here, I'm pissed off at Trump because Trump is in charge of ICE, the National Guard and whatnot. Tom Homan, he got Tom Homan sitting up here doing all this tough talk, but you're not. The response, you got to take off the kid gloves. You got to take off the kid gloves. You agents are getting hurt. There was a meeting. The agents were like, you could hear the agents were getting frustrated. They were getting fed up. Leadership was trying to bring up their morale, but they're like, dude, we're out here getting attacked. It's almost like RoboCop. Remember the first RoboCop movie where the guys were in the locker room and they were talking about how they were getting their butts kicked and they were talking about going on strike? It was pretty much that type of situation. That's why this big, beautiful bill, the BBB, thank God they're going to start hiring more ICE agents and dump more money into the program. But in all honesty, until you do that, you need to start letting these ICE agents strike back. He said Robo Pimp. You got to start letting these ICE agents strike back at these people. You've got to have somebody out there with a can of bear mace and just start spraying these people down. Like, back up. Back up. Back up. The guns aren't scaring these people. That's why when the lady, I was talked about this last month when this is twice now, where they had Pete Hegseth in front of Congress, and you had another Democratic female say, well, will you instruct National Guardsmen to shoot people in the legs? And my answer is, you goddamn right I will. Yes, and higher. And higher. In order to protect this country from terrorists, both foreign and domestic, yes. I will blow away American citizens who have hurt traitors. We will blow them away if they call themselves trying to invade an ICE for any type of detention center. If they attack federal agents or National Guardsmen, they have forfeited their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You forfeited that. So yeah, I will have them popped. This isn't a game, lady. We're not friends out here. Let me throw a Molotov. Let me put a gun in your hand and then step back 20 feet and throw a Molotov cocktail at you and see exactly what you'll do. Have 5 people rushing you with butcher knives. Let me see what you'll do with that gun. Go. What you gonna do? Call social worker Shanice? Well, these guys just need a hug and a kiss on the forehead and a pat on the booty and don't do it anymore. The hell out of here.
Terrible circumstances that bring us together this afternoon. Here was the statement from the Department of Homeland Security on what happened in McAllen earlier today. This morning, an individual opened fire at the entrance of the United States Border Patrol Sector Annex in McAllen, Texas. Both Border Patrol agents and local police helped neutralize the shooter. It's an ongoing investigation led by the FBI. More information will be shared as it becomes available. It's a shocking incident, to be sure, but is it surprising, given everything that's been going on with protests against ICE and Border Patrol?
So it's not. And as you reported earlier, we've seen our assaults go up dramatically. And you know what? These Border Patrol agents are out there doing their job. They're enforcing the law. They're protecting their communities. We've got Border Patrol agents on the river right now on the Guadalupe assisting with rescue efforts. These agents are outstanding Americans. They're just trying to enforce the law. But all of the rhetoric and the false information that's being put out by the left is just increasing violence against our agents, and it's just unacceptable.
So, Mike, what's the solution? How do we tone that down?
And so we've got to get out in front of the narrative. We've got to continue coming on and speaking to you and making sure we're getting the truth out. We've got to continue our messaging, right? But then we've also got to hold those that are encouraging violence against law enforcement or inciting violence. We've got to hold them accountable and prosecute those individuals as well, and know that it is not acceptable to incite violence against law enforcement officers. And we're going to have to prosecute. We're going to have to prosecute these people to the fullest extent of the law to let them know that this is not going to be tolerated.
So you say, Chief, that we've got to tone down the rhetoric, tone down the language. Yet listen to what Axios reported in terms of ICE and the Border Patrol. Democrats told to, quote, get shot for the anti-Trump resistance. Some of them have suggested what we really need to do is be willing to get shot when visiting ICE facilities or federal agencies, a third House Democrat told Axios. Our own base is telling us that what we're doing is not good enough. There needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public, the lawmakers said. With rhetoric like that, is it any wonder we're seeing what we saw there in McAllen this morning and those two other incidents over the July 4th weekend that Jonathan Hunt was talking about?
So it's not, you know, we're pulling agents off of regular duties now to harden our securities at our facility to make sure that we're on a heightened state of alert in order to prevent these attacks from continuing. And these are pulling those agents off of what they should be doing, which is out enforcing the law. But I'll tell you this, I could not be more proud of the Border Patrol employees today. They defended themselves bravely. They handled the situation very well. And I would be remiss if I didn't commend the McAllen Police Department and other local law enforcement agencies that responded and helped us stop that threat. But they're not just putting law enforcement in danger, they're putting civilians in danger too, because when they encourage these civilians to rise up and act like this, they're going up against highly trained law enforcement officers, and they're going to find themselves in the same situation that this gentleman found himself in this morning.
Which is prepared, right? And considering this is one of several recent attacks
Absolutely.
on immigration officers, Mike, how would you say the morale of those folks are and Border Patrol as a whole?
So I would say the morale is doing phenomenally well. However, you know, it does create concern. It creates concern for the agents. They have to go home to their families. We're all fathers, mothers, you know, brothers and sisters. And so agents have to be on a heightened state of awareness, even when they're not on duty, especially in communities where you're well known inside of those communities. A lot of those border communities are small, and people know exactly who we are in those communities. And so this doesn't just affect us while we're on duty. This affects our home lives as well.
You know, we talk to Paul Perez quite often here on the program, the chief of the Border Patrol Union, and he said that his agents have been very happy, very enthusiastic that they're now able to, because of the lack of illegal cross-border traffic that we've seen in the past 5 months, get back to the job at hand. And then something like this happens.
So I'd agree. And I don't believe this is going to lower morale on the Border Patrol, but it's definitely going to create a heightened sense of awareness for us. And again, it's unacceptable that we have lawmakers calling for violence against law enforcement. That is absurd.
Mike, appreciate what you do. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, and they won't hold these lawmakers accountable. That Cynthia Gonzalez chick out in California that was telling gang members they need to defend their turf. as if they own any turf against ICE agents. Yeah, the FBI just went and had a cup of coffee with her and called it a day, when she should have been marched out in handcuffs. They're not going to do anything. They're so weak. I think this whole Epstein stuff really just popped the bubble. I mean, it was already a weak bubble. Y'all watch me regularly. Y'all know past couple weeks, I've been trying to going in on the DOJ, thinking that, as soon as they get the FBI department together, you're going to start seeing some handcuffs. It's going to be a hot summer. I'm not seeing none of that. All I'm seeing is investigation this, investigation that, a lot of finger wagging, a lot of stern talking, but nobody that should be arrested is getting arrested. And that's people in these leadership positions. They're all giving them passes. And this whole Epstein situation lets me know that they're all full of shit. You're full of shit. There was so much hope. It's like the white Obama. So much hope coming into the presidency, only to turn around and realize that it's the same old garbage that we've been getting before, only from a different political party. You still got a weak and corrupt DOJ. Still got a weak and corrupt DOJ. You still got a weak and corrupt FBI. Nothing but a lot of tough talking and finger wagging, but no actual real action is being taken. You want to lie and say that he did the man did. I'm sorry, who were the kids being raped by? Who were the underage girls and boys that was on the Lolita Express on Jeffrey Epstein's island? Who were raping these children? Were they booking their own flights through Priceline.com to go to Epstein Island and having sex with mannequins? Well, I mean, what? Who was on? They were filming them? What? What are you telling me? What was the point of raiding Diddy's house and grabbing the sex tapes if only thing you call yourself charging him with is soliciting prostitution? I mean, what? You might as well have Biden back in office. I guess it really didn't matter who we voted for, huh? I mean, of course, but yeah, lots of tough talk prior to the election, but Trump has been really soft. And my biggest problem is they're soft on crime. Painfully soft on crime. Painfully soft on crime. Which is the biggest issue that we have in America, is crime and poverty. At least you're fixing the poverty situation. At least you call yourselves trying to fix the immigration situation. But you're not trying to fix the crime problem, which starts at the top. Starts at the very tippy top. No arrests for the USAID money thefts. No arrest on that. I mean, Dr. Fauci should be under arrest now that we know everything that was going on with the COVID vaccines that was out here killing people. What was it, giving them cardiomyosis or whatever? Where these people were dropping dead from heart attacks. That's what happened with Damar Hamlin on that in the football game. What was it? Sunday, Thursday, Monday Night Football, whatever it was. He dropped dead of a heart attack because he took the shot. Thank God they were able to keep him alive long enough for the ambulance to get there. They had to perform CPR on that dude for 10 minutes. He was dead on that field. Oh my God. I'm not going into another rant. I'm just disgusted. I'm disgusted. I expected something better, and that's not what we got. We got the same crap we've been getting for the past 4 years. It's the same weak, feckless crap. Y'all get some sleep, man.
Demon King Satan! Satan!
Nope, not
Satan!
at all.
Satan! 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 Satan!
I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded. I rode the bus retarded. Dang. In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron.
Yeah.
To be moronic.
Exactly. To be a moron.
An imbecile.
Yeah.
Not the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. No.
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you.
And then I'm like, this baby motherfucker better not blow up by nuclear shit, or I'm gonna go loco on this bitch. And then he blows up all my nuclear shit, and I'm like, call my general. And they tell me, they're all dead, sir. And I'm like, assemble the army. And they're like, they're dead too, sir. So then I'm like, launch the friggin' missiles. And they're like, sir, they're gone, sir. So I'm like, what the fuck?
Damn, I know I shouldn't have called on this nigga. I shouldn't have called on you because you always kind of distract motherfucker. Fine, I'll answer your stupid ass question.
We have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
Get the fuck out!
All right, bye. Thanks for the fun.